Felix, it's so good to see you. So good to see you, my friend.
Yes, Mark. It is really a wonderful time that we can meet again through the internet after like
Yes,
9 years.
9 years or so. Yeah, we
Yeah,
talked through Facebook and email, but I don't think we have had video chat in a long time. Yeah,
yeah,
this is great. Like being back in Hong Kong. I feel like I'm
yeah,
in Chun Wan, like Kok Choi again.
yeah.
This is
Yeah,
maybe we're in Taiwan. Yes.
I miss the wonderful food in Chunwan with you, and yeah, at that time you were a missionary helping out with
Yes.
the Lutheran Church in Hong Kong, and now you are Pastor Mark.
Pastor Mark. Here in the USA. I'm here in Wisconsin. Yes. And
Yeah.
it's such a joy to be a pastor and serve God's people and serve people inside the church and outside the church and tell them about Jesus's love. Yes.
So
Yeah.
yeah, God is really doing wonderful things through your life
Yes.
and blessing to Hong Kong and people everywhere.
Yes, absolutely. And it was an honor getting to know you in Hong Kong. And now you're in New Zealand.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So God is always wonderful, leading us to
Yes.
yeah, kind of different direction, but glad that we are serving together for the kingdom.
Right, absolutely. And what a marvelous thing it is that we can chat through video. When the Apostle Paul was alive, he would have to write down on a scroll and send it with Barnabas or Timothy or someone like that, or maybe he could visit in person
Yeah.
occasionally. Yeah.
Right. So I know that you are doing a really great job having your new book. That is really something.
Yeah, Curious Cases, a series of short pastoral case studies. And I used the Harvard case study model to write these. It was developed at Harvard in the United States, in Massachusetts. And basically, a situation is presented, characters, a setting,
Mm.
the people are introduced, and then a challenge or an opportunity is introduced, and then some reflection questions. So basically, like short stories that I wrote to help leaders in the church, especially young leaders, but leaders of all kinds in the church, think through different, unique problems or challenges that we face in the real world practically.
Yeah, I think that is really great. And yeah, when you tell me about this, I go to
Yes.
Amazon and then just I can't wait for the printed version. So I brought the Kindle version. And
Yes.
I really want to know um, how how you think about like having this idea to write this book. Can you share a bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So basically, I would say that I wrote this book. Well, I had been writing for years, and I wrote a case study for one of my pastoral leadership classes in St. Louis,
Mm.
Concordia, St. Louis. My professor, Ben Haupt, he wrote the foreword for this. He read it. He thought it was so good. He was laughing. He thought that particular case study was so funny. And he said, "Oh, uh, Mark, you should try to get that published because
Mm.
we need case studies under the new curriculum at Concordia St. Louis." So I said, "Okay. In fact, maybe I'll write a book." And I started writing these over 2.5 years. So right about the time I was graduating from seminary, and for the first 2.5 years that I was a pastor, I used the word curious in this title. And the reason I use the word curious, Felix, is because there are many situations in church work that are very curious in every sense. Curious in that there's strange situations sometimes that you encounter, but also curious in that I want to know more and I want to
Mm.
understand this better. And as pastors or just leaders in the church in general, we should be curious about the things we are seeing and encountering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that it is really a collection of all your experience and
Yes.
passion inside. Yeah,
Right.
and I think it is really a good book because not just because you are my friend. It's really
Yes.
because I think it make us think. Sometimes I think it's really important that we think about how um, what we learn from the church, what we learn from the seminary, really
Yeah.
go into our real life situation, how we interact with other people, bringing
Yes.
Christ with us to go to some really, I think, difficult situation.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. I wanted something that would be applicable to real life situations. I base this on my own life experience. I have not been a pastor for a really long time, but I was blessed to be a missionary and teach English and be like a youth director, director of Christian education in some churches and teach in Lutheran schools. So I base these case studies off of many things I've seen serving the church, and just as a student or growing up, or my dad was a pastor, and my mom served Lutheran social services and things like that. So I wanted something that people could apply to their real life right now in the 20s, 2024. Yeah,
Yeah.
and beyond
Yeah.
years.
Really great to know that you're coming to Hong Kong at that time, not only
Yes,
blessing different people, student families, but also that experience, yeah, it's blessing your life that you now having this wonderful book coming out. And in fact, last 2 weeks ago, and I tried to use one of the case to have a
yeah,
discussion with my church member in the small group, and I think that really helped. We think about in a real life situation how we try to show Christ's love to other people and also learn from each other. Oh, maybe I need to be aware of something I should do, and something when I try to reflect back to what the Bible said. In fact,
yes,
that there are always some gaps. Sometimes we can't just think really using the black and white model because real life is really complicated sometimes. So I think this kind of interaction and discussion among the members is beneficial, really beneficial to our spiritual life.
absolutely. And when someone becomes a Christian, if they have a physical illness,
Hmm.
becoming a Christian does not make that physical illness go away.
Yeah.
And if someone becomes a Christian, if they have maybe mental illness, becoming a Christian doesn't just make that mental illness go away. So sometimes as Christians, we have maybe a very strong faith that God has blessed us with, but it doesn't always perfectly connect to where our mind is or our body is or our soul is in a way. And our lives can be very complicated sometimes and
Yeah.
a little bit messy. You have one family member that you love so dearly, but they are so different than another family member that you love so dearly. You have one coworker that you enjoy working with, and
Hmm.
another you don't get along very well. And then maybe you have a coworker that's just very tough to work with. So, but God puts us in those situations to be a light and to think through difficult situations and have good boundaries and use critical thinking, and all for the purpose. We think through all of these things responsibly so that we can point people to Jesus and his love and live out our callings faithfully. And if I could just say this about Hong Kong, I learned so much more from the people of Hong Kong and from the Lutherans there and Christians there and just people in general, whether they were Christian or not, than I ever taught them. They taught me so much more than I ever taught them. And the same thing with when I was in mainland China as well. I learned so much more. What did I know? They told me, they taught me so much more. So very humbled and blessed by that. And would you like me to read a case study to you, Felix? Should I share a case?
Sure, sure.
Okay, great. So this case study is the first case study in chapter 4, the chapter on death and dying, and it's entitled Noreen's Situation. Noreen is a recently widowed 58-year-old junior high school teacher who is looking forward to retiring in the next 3 years. Both of her sons just graduated from college and are engaged to loving, dynamic young women. Over the last 6 months, Noreen has had little time to spend with her sons and soon-to-be daughter-in-laws. Outside of work, nearly all of her time has been dedicated to caring for her 90-year-old mother, Eleanor, who has been in declining health for some time. On the Sunday before Christmas, Noreen enters her mother's room to find her unresponsive. She immediately phoned an ambulance and then phoned her next-door neighbor, Dr. Steinkamp, who rushed over in less than a minute. The doctor informed Noreen her mother had been dead for probably about 2 hours and told her she had done a fantastic job caring for her over the years, especially over the last 6 months. 5 days later at the visitation, Noreen is speaking with her mother's priest, Father Jackson, when her estranged sister, Carter, approaches the priest and says, "Well, as I said to you in my voicemail today, Father Jackson, my sister did take care of my mother in her last days, but she also convinced her that I was not a suitable daughter or a sister. The only reason that I am being so civil with my sister right now is because she recently lost her husband. This is my mother's visitation after all. I hope that your funeral sermon will reflect the situation accurately and be kinder to me than my sister has been. Thank you for your time and have a blessed day." After hearing this, Noreen's heart is beating rapidly as her face becomes beet red while Carter scampers away to the other side of the room. Noreen says in a relatively calm voice, "Father Jackson, this is the first time I have heard from or seen my sister in over a decade. She threw a massive fit because my mother did not give her sole control of my dad's estate when he died. I tried tirelessly to reach Carter the last several years of my mother's life. My mom wanted desperately to see her youngest daughter, and Carter absolutely could not even be bothered to answer the telephone. I always did my best to represent Carter as well as I possibly could, but I can't anymore. This is all I can take." As the case study, please thoughtfully answer the following questions. Could I ask you these questions, Felix?
Yeah. In case that you said that there is no model answer, so you know
Right.
Hong Kong people, we are very concerned about having the right answer.
Yes, yes. No right or wrong
Yeah,
answers
yeah,
here.
that's good.
Just we're trying to responsibly, through these questions, deal with these situations as best we can. Okay. If you were Father Jackson, what might you say to Noreen to try to comfort her as she mourns the death of her mother and tries to cope with the presence of her estranged younger sister, Carter? What maybe would you say?
Well, how about what I try to mention what my brothers and sisters said in the small group?
Yes.
They are saying, well, we all agree that sometimes when you got relatives pass away, because in Chinese saying, there's some standard words that you may or you can say, like say try not to be so sad, um,
Yeah.
and kind of like accepting the flow of life, which
Sure.
when you hear this, you can see it's a cultural different. I think definitely, like when we think about this so-called sample or default answer,
Yeah.
is sometimes a very rude thing because it's
Yeah.
not touching on the emotion. So what we try to learn is maybe we start not to think about what we said first, but rather acknowledge that this is a time for sadness. It is
Yes.
more kind of allowing the person to really have a chance to talk if they want, but not
Yes.
also not to force them to talk if they don't. And
Right.
more is a companion because we think that well, I think that sometimes God is also silence God, which means He is
Yeah.
always with us, but He's not a really somebody who talk a lot. But
Right.
more here is Emmanuel, meaning that He's always with us. So what I think in my mind is just before I speak anything, I want to acknowledge the feeling or the
Yes.
sadness, the loss with that person, and also trying to listen if she said anything first and being a companion. So my answer is no, not I don't have any specific word to say, but just maybe
Yeah.
it must be a really hard time, especially there are feelings inside. Say he the lady lost his her husband a
Yes.
while ago, and now it turns out to be her mother, and also coming out with her sister, which is not having good relationship with her. So like feelings
Right.
of loss, sad, and also angry and kind of disappointed things. So maybe I'll address a bit the emotion and offering more listening. Yeah, I don't know
Yeah.
whether. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that I think that's very wise. I think that's terrific. Giving a ministry of presence,
Mm-hmm.
just being there for someone, listening to them, not giving them clean cookie cutter answers, but instead acknowledging that real grief and pain that they're feeling as they mourn the loss of a loved one. Oh, I think that is so wise.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I like that a lot. Here's the next question. How can Father Jackson pray for Noreen and Carter in the coming months and years as they deal with a variety of feelings of grief and loss? How can he pray for these two ladies
Hmm.
that have a difficult situation in relation?
So how about that should be a discussion, right? Pastor Mark,
Yes.
can I
Yeah. Well,
ask your opinion? Let's
okay.
discuss
Okay.
it. Yeah.
Well, I would say he should pray that they can forgive one another, or that Noreen can forgive Carter for being absent during the last
Mm.
uh, period, the last months or years of their mother's life, and that they can reconcile, they can forgive each other for any hurt that they have caused one another, and that maybe they won't agree on everything that has taken place, but
Mm.
they can agree that Christ has paid for any sin that they've committed. Jesus loves them unconditionally, and they can at least come to a place where they can talk, on a regular basis. They love each other. They are no longer holding ill will towards one another, bitter feelings in their hearts towards one. That would be my prayer, and that and also they would be able to look to the future with hope towards Jesus, that their mom is with Jesus, and they have a chance to see their mom again. They will if they believe in Jesus. They have hope.
I think I will do similar thing, especially on the part that, because when we pray, we know that God is here, and
Yes.
that means their mom, are really in God's good hand to
Yes.
He's being take care of everything that we can't do. And also, I think I will also pray, trying to focusing on the good stuff, like uh, I can't remember the older daughter's name.
Yeah, Noreen and
Noreen.
and then Carter. Yeah.
Yeah. I think Noreen is really, we appreciate. I will say thanks for God for Noreen's good works towards the mother, a lot of patience, a lot of caring.
Yes.
But also, I think the coming back of Carter, in my point of view, is that she still care, right?
Yeah.
So that is something, trying to give thanks to God and addressing during the prayer, to let the two of them seeing, uh, God's love. Well, also focusing on, in fact, all this good thing comes from God's love. That, we are broken in some ways, but God's love still is appearing in our life in different pieces and there, and I think this is what I'm thinking.
That's fantastic. Absolutely. Yeah, God is still there, even in the midst of that tragedy and that difficulty. In fact, God is closer than ever, even in these tough and difficult times.
And he
I, I,
reveal in those positive bit, and that they can see, and maybe Laureen, you think Carter is really not good enough, but still, she's
yes.
here. She come back.
Yeah.
Even she say something really not very nice, but at the back, she tried, to say that she is not that bad. Yeah.
Absolutely. What passages from the Bible might be helpful in this situation to bring about reconciliation between these two sisters? Are there any passages that might come to your mind?
I yeah, frankly speaking, I don't have any. I mean, I think because I'm emergent, like still in the beginning stage, like
Yeah.
because before they really see the presence of God, and on the positive side, and they admitted that, I think my way of handling is not just presenting out what the Bible said at that moment, but more trying to let them to see that, God is doing good to at least their mother, handling well
Yes.
everything, is always hope, and also good, doing good to both of them. At least they got a heart to come back and also care. And then I think with that as a base, I will talk about, because like in the heaven, you will see your mother again, and
Mm-hmm.
you will be glad that maybe you were having another time together at that time. So, and then
Yes.
when you imagine that, that is the place that without tears, as is mentioned in the Revelation, and
Right.
without tears, without sadness, so also without that kind of um, quarrel and argument among you two.
Yeah.
But I won't say it very straightly, but just try to let them imagine about the picture
Right.
that everything will be gone, all the bad thinking and towards each other will also be gone. You when you see your mom again, then will be a new start. And I
Yes.
yeah maybe I would talk a little bit about and that with and in fact heaven can be we can bring God's kingdom to this earth a little bit earlier if we like if you
Uh,
want. You just need to pray and maybe yeah trying to thinking about slowly forgiving each other a bit. Yeah, I think that's
yes.
what come up in my mind.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that is so brilliant, Felix. And what I hear you saying is forgiveness is a process.
Yeah,
Forgiveness might take time, and we might need God
yeah,
to work for a while. And it might take a while before maybe we can even forgive ourselves in some situations, but
yeah,
God will give us the strength. Yeah, that's what I hear. Great stuff. Do you believe Father Jackson should encourage Noreen to seek licensed professional counseling services?
mm-hmm. I will yeah I will definitely care about like spending a time to talk with her and see
Yeah,
how she's going, and if that is need definitely if some professional help is need,
yeah,
I think it will be great. Yeah,
wonderful, wonderful. Yeah,
especially
I would
you
agree.
know that I'm a counselor. That's why
Yes,
definitely that is the way I will yeah consider. Yeah.
yeah, great stuff. Yeah, so that's the end of that case study. Would you mind if maybe I read one more?
I will.
Or should we do that on the next visit?
Yeah, I definitely want find another time because I think
Oh,
every cases is wonderful and I need some time to prepare.
okay, okay. That sounds good. That sounds very fair.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. Well, this has been amazing, Felix. And it's so good to see your face and hear your voice. And I've always wanted to go to New Zealand. My brother Joel and my friend Justin, they went there years ago. They
Hmm.
actually, you met in Hong Kong, actually. Joel and Justin. I don't know if you remember them.
Oh,
Pastor
we
Kwan.
have that dim sum together.
Yeah,
Oh,
yes.
oh, they are
Oh, we had
here.
so much fun.
I should
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
that.
Well,
Oh,
then they Australia, they went to Sydney, then they went to Auckland, New Zealand. They were going all over the place. I
oh.
think they do maybe a famous waterfall in New Zealand, I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
They went to all of these beautiful places in New Zealand and they loved it and they didn't want to leave. They wanted to stay there. So,
Oh,
but they went back to the United States. So,
yeah. They should come to find me and have dim sum again.
yes. Yeah, I'll come with them and we'll do some. And you're always welcome here. So, yeah, the two as well.
Sure.
Yes. Well, wonderful. Well, thank you so much for having me on,
Mm-hmm.
Felix. I appreciate it. And let's do this again where we read through another case study. And I think these are perfect for Bible
Yeah.
studies or small groups or for uh, members of a church or a seminary community. I think these are very good. At least I hope they are. And I hope that people get a lot out of them and can think through.
Yeah, definitely it is really helpful. And even now, I do this discussion with you.
Yes.
You know, I've already tried it 2 weeks ago with my church member. I think I still
Yes.
learn because your sharing is valuable, and also like we have interaction and learning from each other. There's a very good chance. Thank you.
Right. Oh, thank you. I learned so much today and learned from each other. God bless you, Felix. I'll see you later, man.
Yeah, we will schedule another time. See you again.
Yes. Okay. Bye bye.
Bye.